Spokenly, I haven't thought about flying for a long time. I haven't dreamed of that moment when I was alone above the clouds for a long time. I have dreamed of waking up in a room surrounded in blue and green grass for more years than I could dream of remembering. I haven't walked back into the past or scratched on the doors of my origins, where it all came from, since I held up that cape for the last time.
Return to Cape Town 10th Year Anniversary Edition is a revised version of Andy N's first poetry book. The book can be purchased from Amazon and it contains numerous additional material.
Spokenly. Hi, it's Andy N from Spoken Label. Thank you today for streaming or downloading another episode of Spoken Label. Spoken Label was originally set up on beginning of 2016 and as of speaking has currently nearly 300 sessions. The full archive is available on Spoken Label bandcamp.com. Although it is available for free for stream and download if you wish, I am always grateful for any sort of kind of donation to enable me to keep the running costs of this podcast going. And enjoy. Take care. Bye bye. Spoken Label.
Hey guys, Andy N, Spoken Label, back in the house on a Tuesday evening. Not too bad tonight. Last night was bloody freezing, but today's all right. So, and we're over to one of my favourite areas in Manchester today. My second favourite area after Stretford, where I was born, we're heading to Chorlton. Now, people obviously know I grew up a lot around Chorlton because I had a kind of uncle that lived on the corner of St Clement's Road. And also, I co-run Speakeasy, the open mic, spoken word called Mic Night. I run Amanda and the lovely C. Smythe. So, the lady who got with us today, I'm sure she said she lives on the back of Morrison's, which is straight in the centre of Chorlton. Now, I met her. Oh, well, that's wrong. Completely out. She'll correct me in a minute then, but I do know her name. And I met her for the first time last Thursday, and she's a lovely lady called Rebecca Kenny. Now, Rebecca, then, for people who don't know you know, where do you live then? So we get it right.
So I live in Northwich, so I'm a really long way away.
Yeah, okay, yeah, forget that. Yeah, forget that altogether. Then
I car around the back of Morrison, so I think that's it.
That was it then. No, I'm sure he said he lived back in Morrison last week. So as you can see, Andy N example, shit for brains strikes again. So,
I wish I lived in Chorlton. I really wish I did because it's amazing. I used to go there a lot when I was in my teenage years.
Ah, right, yeah. My brother actually lives in Crewe. Actually, he does. So he lives on the back of the big car. Is it the car factory on there? Or that might have gone now.
It's not too far away.
Yeah. Yeah. Tell me about yourself. And have you always been originally from Northwich? Then have you?
I was born in Warrington.
Oh,
so,
right.
But I'm a bit of a wanderer. I went to university in Sheffield, and then I moved down. I worked for a summer in Norfolk. Then I went to Portsmouth, qualified as a teacher. Then I went to Brighton. I spent a decade there. Then I went back up to Liverpool. Oh, wow. And now I'm in Northwich. So I've done a circuit of England.
You have really, haven't you? Blimey. Which part of Brighton did you live in? Because that's another part of the world I love.
I was in Hanover originally, and then I moved to Hove, and I lived in Hove for a few years.
Yeah, I know Hove well. One of my best mates, I used to go uni with, and we're digressing here, but we'll catch up in a minute. One of my best mates, hi Andy, if you listen to this, my another Andy, right? When I first met him, he lived actually in Kemp Town, you know where Kemp Town is. And my first poetry book is actually called Return to Kemp Town. Did a lot of my lovely area, so and he lived in Hove as well. So, but anyway, so obviously then, and obviously now you eventually ended up living in Northwich where you are. So tell people about then. Obviously, don't know you. Where did all your creativity come from originally then?
Oh goodness, I always read when I was growing up. And my grandparents on both sides were really encouraging of me to read, and it was how I amused myself as a child. So I had a big collection of books, and
love it.
We were also a very musical household. So my mum was into all types of music. So we always had music in the house, from punk to Motown to pop. So I think it's kind of an amalgamation of the two of them. It's me wanting to tell stories, but I'm not particularly musically inclined. So poetry was a nice middle ground.
Yeah, I think it tends to be, doesn't it? 'Cause like it was, I don't want to go too much of me here, but I ended up, before I really got into poetry, I actually formed, something it would make you laugh. I was actually fronting when I was about 19, a goth metal band called After Midnight.
Me too.
Oh, wait, oh God, what was your dodgy band called then?
We were called Rampage.
I like it. Oh, I love it. Oh dear.
It's awful.
Oh no, mine wasn't much better. We were called After Midnight, and at the time I had 28-inch hips. I used to wear tight 24-inch leather pants. I had a big long wig on, and that was hard work. I couldn't sing on all our songs with bad Joy Division rip-offs.
We've had the same experience.
Yeah. Oh. I mean, tell me if you agree with this. Do you always believe you've got to be bad for you to become good sometimes, haven't you, your creativity?
I think it's good to have that experience of being awful. It gives you a bit of humility, I think. Definitely.
Oh, definitely. I didn't actually see what you learn about people there. So now, obviously, I want to move forward a bit more because I know, obviously, now your story itself, which starts with quite a sad event, which I know led to your book we're going to talk about today. So I'll let you tell people about that first of all. It's probably best coming from you.
Okay, well, I only started performing poetry in August last year, thanks to Lisa O'Hare, who recommended me to Josie at What's the Sketch. And
we adore Lisa. We absolutely adore
amazing.
Lisa. Yeah, Amanda and Lisa are pretty always good laugh to get together because they're both absolutely potty on Kiefer Sutherland.
Yeah. Well, it was Lisa who recommended me, and then Josie rang me, and I was like, "Me? Why?" And I did a show in Altrincham, and then I did Saying, and I loved it, and I got the bug, and then I was driving to work on October the 1st, and it was about 7:20 in the morning, and it was my usual route that I drive all the time, and there was a patch of oil on the road, and I lost control of my car, and I spun the car because I tried to steer into the skid, but as I say in one of my poems in the book, it's harder when it's not a metaphor. So So I lost control, spun, and then I got T-boned by, of all the cars, all the cars in the world that could have T-boned me, I got T-boned by a yellow Fiat Punto.
God.
This is even worse, isn't it? It's like, it just adds an extra layer of devastation.
Yeah, it wouldn't have been I know it's horrible what you went through, so we're going to come on to that seriously. But if it had been like a Mercedes or Rolls Royce that had done it, you wouldn't, I know it wouldn't have mattered. Not that. Yeah.
But yeah, exactly. Oh God, a yellow Fiat Punto of all the cars. So yeah, they came into the side of me and they pinned me in. And there's a funny story that I have to share with you, because when I crashed the car, my phone was in a phone holder on the window and it flew out of the window, but I was connected to Bluetooth. So I was listening to a podcast, and I was listening to a RuPaul's Drag Race podcast with Alaska and Willem. And I was so lucky, in the car behind me there was a doctor. He was driving a Mercedes behind me, and he got into the car with me and held me still, because I was like trying to get out of the car. I was like, still got all my teeth, I'm going to get out. So this doctor was going, you know, what's your name? How are you? What year is it? And in the background there was these two drag queens just having a really graphic conversation about sex. And he was like, can we turn this off? And I was like, I don't know where my phone is, am I dead? So it was just mortifying. So yellow car, and then the poor doctor had to sit through that till the paramedics came. So you've got to laugh, haven't you? Because it's just ridiculous.
I think the saying I always use, if you don't laugh, you cry.
Well, that's very true. Yeah. But yeah, it took 3 fire engines because they had to cut me out of the car. So
wow.
I'm just such an attention seeker. Chopped the roof off the car, and then they had to slide me out because all the seats were mangled, because I was driving a Toyota IQ. It's like a shoe, the tiniest car in the world. So yeah, they got me out on a board, and then they taped me. But like, it was great. I got loads of gas and air, and I got to see how airbags work. I've never seen one up close before, so that was nice.
God.
But yeah, then they took me to Aintree Trauma Centre because it was an 80-mile-per-hour crash. And when I got there, they did a CT and an MRI, and it turned out that I'd broken, let me see if I can remember, I'd broken 2 vertebrae in my neck, and I had severe whiplash. I'd broken my sternum. I'd broken 2 vertebrae in my middle back. I'd broken 2 in my lower back. I'd also broken my sacrum, so just above my coccyx, and I'd broken my pelvis in 2 places.
Oh my God.
So I can, quite confidently say I'm very, very lucky to be alive.
God, yeah, completely on that one. It's a heck of a journey that is on yourself to get out of that. Now, obviously, I don't know. I think it's kind of irony in a way. So obviously, then like your crash and learn, your full length debut collection came from that, really. And I think that's such an apt name, obviously, for what you've gone through. Now, what made you first of all then want to do the book?
Well, when I was in the hospital, I was really lucky because my phone came out of the accident relatively unscathed. It was in a bush somewhere, and I was on the ward and I wasn't allowed any visitors because of COVID. So I called a couple of friends, and how do you call someone and go, I've been in a car crash and I've broken my neck and my back, but I'm okay, don't worry. Then they were all like, well, what can we do? And we just decided to write together, and we wrote loads of poetry because I had nothing better to do. I was literally stuck in bed. And then we ended up with a load of poems, and it was actually Steve Mingle who said to me, you should put these in a booklet. And so we made a little pamphlet called The Poet Who Broke Her Back, and we sold it to raise money for Aintree. And we raised £400 in the end for Aintree Trauma Centre, which is mad because they did save me. They were amazing. And off the back of that, I got into putting my writing together, and I was like, maybe I could write a collection. I've got time now. I wasn't going anywhere. I was in bed learning to walk again. So I had at least 2 or 3 months of just sitting there.
Oh God, I would have been climbing the walls after that. Respect you, not going absolutely crazy over that.
Well, there were moments for sure, but it was, it's been a bit of a whirlwind journey because I started writing, and a lot of what I wrote didn't make it into the book because it is so depressing. And people always look at people like me and go, oh gosh, you're so inspirational, I can't believe you've come through this. But if you could see my notebooks and see some of the depressive stuff that I wrote in the early days.
Yeah, no,
it's processing, isn't it? It's like processing.
I think sometimes you need to get all that negativity out of your system before you get to the good stuff like happens before the music. Like it was, I had similar situation. I became diabetic just over 10 years ago. I must have wrote about 150 poems about it, which I am never ever going to show to people because they're too full on. And yours must be identical the same situation. It's probably worse thinking about it.
I think it's one of those things, isn't it? It's like it's an event that nobody really will understand unless they've been in it. And for me, definitely, I have yet to meet more than maybe 1 or 2 people who understand. And so when I was trying to write about it, there are a lot of things I go back to and go, God, no one's going to get this. But in a way, the writing helped me to process it all because it was such a like I remember talking to a surgeon and saying, I can't find anybody on the internet with my injuries. And he said, well, no, because they're all dead. And it's like, what do you do with that information? Wow. And so for a long time, I was like, oh, I'm so lucky. But then on the flip side, I was like, but that's so scary. It's such a scary thing to know that you came so close to not being here anymore. And then that kind of led me to think, well, if I'm going to do it, I should do it now because I've got the time, I've got the momentum, and I should probably do something. Otherwise, all of this has been for nothing.
Yeah, no, I agree with you completely. And it's like looking obviously like at I want to go on to his next actually, Bent Key Publishing website, which obviously I know you founded. It's interesting enough what you've stated on the website, and this is what I found. It's a real burst, this, where you wrote the full collection, pretty what I can understand, between October the 1st and New Year's Day, didn't you, this year?
Yeah.
And do you look back at that now, we're only basically into February, you realise how the book's almost come to life itself, hasn't it, really? A very, very quick period, that really.
It's been a really, like I said, it's been a bit of a whirlwind journey, because I think it is quick, but I have had literally months of time in bed. So it's been just me using that time. But Bent Key came out of that almost, I don't want to say serendipity, but it was a really weird turn of events, in that I put The Poet Who Broke Her Back out, and then I got a couple of messages from poets saying, do you know what did you do? How did you make it? How did you put it together? And I was like, well, it's really easy. But then I realized that what came quite easy to me, being an English teacher by trade, doesn't necessarily come that easy to everybody else. And so people started asking me for help and asking me to help them. And then one day I just woke up and thought, well, why don't I just publish people? I can do it. I've got the nous, I've got the experience. And then I went back to those people, and lo and behold, I've got a roster of 9 writers, and I've got publications coming out until November.
Yeah, I can see. Also, I don't want to go too much into your future on that, but certainly website alone's got it's got 4 writers and yourself listed on it. One I know personally, Tom Stocks, and who's an absolute champion guy. Love Tom. I really, really love Tom's work I do. And I'm looking forward to exploring some of your rest writers as well. And we'll talk about that in a bit. But do you find that, like I said, it's been a whirlwind, and it's really interesting, obviously, tell people if they don't know then, why Bent Key Publishing as a name?
So it's called Bent Key because when I came home from Aintree, I had a big bin bag full of the clothes that I was wearing on the day of the accident. And I got my trousers out, and they were all ripped up because they've been cut out of the car. But my keys were still in my pocket. And I pulled out my car keys from my pocket, and my front door key was there. And my front door key was bent almost in 2. And the little icon that's on the website, the little Bent Key icon. So Sam, my graphic designer, she's amazing. That's my key that she's turned into a little vector.
Oh, brilliant.
So that's the actual key. I sent her a photograph of it, and she turned it into that vector. And so that is always going to be the reminder. But it works on 2 levels, because I've also got a 3-year-old called Beckett, and his initials are BK. So,
love it.
So we're Bent Key, and then we're BK. So it's named after the key, and it's also named after my little boy. So that's quite nice.
Oh, brilliant. No, that's a great idea. Great way of doing it indeed. Now I want to move on to a few bits and pieces I know you're involved in, because it was when I gone onto your link tree page, I was pulling things up I wasn't expecting. So I want to go into 1 or 2 of these. And henceforth, everyone, I tell you honestly, when you do an interview podcast to people, the best bit is sometimes actually a surprise on things. That's why you find out. Now, we'll go from top to bottom on these, obviously. Now,
there's so many.
We'll see. We'll cover some of them anyway, right? Tell people, first of all, you've got several playlists and mental health on there. Now, what made you want to do these then, first of all, then?
I just love music. I love music. Yeah. And I feel like sharing music is such a deeply personal thing to do. And I am all about connection, and I love getting to know people. And one thing I love doing with my friends is making playlists, because I feel like someone's music choices, you can get a really good insight into the sort of person someone is from what they choose to put on a playlist.
Oh yeah. No, I was at one point last year. I was actually doing a monthly mix of and whatever I was listening to, and it got to the stage where I had some people contacting Amanda saying, "Is your auntie okay? Listen, it's very strange music sometimes."
It's nice. It's so I at Christmas, I shared my Christmas playlist, which I just think is the best Christmas playlist ever. And then people were saying they really enjoyed it. So then I shared my songs for when you feel like shite,
which I can
does
do.
What it says on the tin.
Oh yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
I built that with my friend Lee on a day when we were both feeling really miserable. So we both contributed to it. And then my 5.5 hours of nostalgia for tired old indie kids like me.
Oh man, I can relate to that. Yeah.
All the Britpop, all the stuff that I used to dance to when I used to go out.
I'll have to have a proper look at these. Definitely look forward to it. So now I'm just going straight down on this book. I want to ask you. Obviously, you've talked obviously about your pamphlet first of all, the poet who broke her back. Now this is praise really. So, but I love the fact that obviously people wondering you can still pick up that first collection. I can see for $750, a minimum of $750. But what I do like is the fact is you set it up as pay what you want for the ebook copy as well. So I'll tell you now for nothing, I'm going to be getting that later straight after we finish here. No problem with that one. So I'll put a couple of pounds down. So that's why. So that's a bit of praise you. I think that's really good. It shows you want people to still do the awareness on it.
Absolutely. I'm not interested in making money off of it. It's more just raising money for Aintree because they did such an amazing job with me. And I'm not easy to look after for a week and a half. But they did it really well.
See, I think it shows some of those people when they get like that, they can get very patient. They think that they're paid for what they do, and they're very good at it. Because, like when I was in hospital for a week and a half when they're pumping fluids into me when I was diabetic, and I was climbing the walls, and I was a lot less patient than I am now. So I know what you mean. You learn, don't you? So that's why. Now, obviously, I want to talk about your launch as well because you've got a big launch coming up, haven't you?
I have, yeah. So Crash and Learn. When I decided to do Bentkey, I decided that if the first person to go through the mill should be me because it's my company, and I wanted the learning curve to come from publishing my own collection. So on the 24th of February, we are releasing our first book, and it's my book, Crash and Learn. It's at the Pen and Pencil in the Northern Quarter.
Now, I don't actually know where the Pen and Pencil is. Actually, I know somewhere around Northern Quarter. Where is it?
It's on Hilton Street, so it's just down from the Feel Good Club, and it's over the road from the Whiskey Jar. So there's
I know where the Whiskey Jar is. Right, that's fine enough. I'm half Scottish, so you can guarantee half Scottish knows where Whiskey Jar.
Yeah, I love
it sends whiskey out.
The Whiskey Jar, but it's in that area, so it's walking distance from Piccadilly Station, and the tickets are free. You can purchase a copy of the book when you get there, or you can purchase one in advance and you can have it signed or not signed. But I've got a load of amazing poets supporting me, and I've actually got Anthony Briscoe, who's one of my favourite poets, has agreed to MC it, which
God help you. I
cannot believe that.
God help you. You've got to get him. You've got to keep him off the stage. That's the problem there. Oh, sorry, Ant. I'm only joking, mate.
He's brilliant. I absolutely adore Anthony. I think he's brilliant. And
I was winding him up last night on Facebook, and I'll tell you about that off mic later. I'm not repeating that story. His reaction, if it had been in person, it'd have been explicit for what I said to you.
Yeah. But no, anyway. I made up because I've got Ant's going to be there, and a couple of other Bentkey writers, and a few friends of mine. And I actually found out the other day that one of my old students from Brighton is coming all the way up.
Blimey, that's good. That's good. That take a while to get down there. Blimey.
I think she might live in Manchester now. So it's not as impressive as it sounds. But
I hope she lives in Manchester now, because like I said, I know my friend living in Bognor Regis now said before, living in Kemp Town, and he drove up from there the other week to see me and Amanda.
Oh, it's a while.
Yeah, he took a bit of stop off in Scarborough for a bit, so that's why took him about 6 hours. So yeah. So anyway, listen, we're digressing, right? So now I want to know next as well. Obviously, what is right outside an off-grid retreat then? So I know that's coming up later in the year.
It is. Right outside is something that I put together before the accident, actually. And what I wanted, I was talking to a load of poets, and we all were having this discussion about how amazing it would be if we could just go somewhere in the middle of nowhere and sit down and write poetry and read and sleep under the stars. And it kind of made me think, well, why can't we do that? So I started looking for exclusive use campsites, and I found an amazing one down in the Mendip Hills near Glastonbury, called Chesterblade Hills, and they've given us the exclusive use of the entire place for a weekend.
Oh, brilliant.
So we're running an off-grid retreat, and it's brilliant because it's not completely empty. It's got an amazing cabin with hammocks and a kitchen and kitchen facilities, and but there's no phone signal. So it is out and away from Instagram, away from social media. And again, so I've got a few amazing poets supporting me there. I've got Emma Jane Barlow's doing some spiritual writing. I've got Will Stevenson, Michaela Violet are coming and doing workshops there. Donna Matthew is going to do some poetry and yoga workshops.
Brilliant. Yeah, you've got this mapped out well.
It's from the 15th to the 17th of April. It's £100 a ticket. And yeah, we've still got a few tickets available. So if you want to come and just sit under the stars with us and read poetry around a campfire and do some meditative writing and walking and just have a jolly good time, then please do join us.
I'm on way too much medication to do all that stuff nowadays, unfortunately.
Well, me too now. I don't know how. I was supposed to be doing the mindful hiking. I don't think I can hike anymore. I'm going to have to rethink that one.
Yeah, you'd have to just tell Will Stevenson or Anne Briscoe you're doing it instead.
Yeah.
Talking into it. They're both going to kill me for that as well. No, they are. But anyway, well, to obviously start winding down, Rebecca, there's a few things I want to touch on today. Okay. Now, obviously, we've touched on briefly about Bent Key Publishing. Now, I know you've got a number of writers signed up for it. You've got books lined up for the rest of certainly to the end part of the year. Is there anything you can reveal about what's coming up then?
So, yeah, there's a few writers that we've officially announced. So Tom Stocks, as we said, his collection is coming in March alongside James Walton. So both writers from the Wigan area. I think Tom's originally from Bolton, actually.
Yeah, he's Bolton. He's Richard Bolton. I know someone knows him, so yeah, he's definitely Bolton originally.
Yeah. So we've got two really amazing launches coming up in March. So there's mine in February, and then on the 5th of March we've got James Walton, and he's releasing his chapbook Belting. And what I love about James's chapbook and what made me want to work with him is that it's all written phonetically in Wigan English.
Oh, so wow.
So when you read it in James's voice. It's dead clever. And I just love it. I asked him to make a little Pinterest board for his front cover, and it was just all pie barms and cans of lager.
Brilliant.
So that gives you a little taste. So we're releasing his front cover on Friday because it's all done and it's ready to go. And then we've got Tom's at the end of March, his collection Lovely Chubbly, and that's a full collection. How good a name is that, Lovely Chubbly?
It's brilliant.
I wish I'd come up with that.
Oh yeah. No, I've only met Tom once a month. What was it now? We met you obviously in January. It was November. I met him last year for Speakeasy because December it was.
Yeah.
You can see how bad my memory is because we had COVID in January, so yeah, it was it. December I met him, and he was telling me all about his plans for his book. But then he didn't tell me who it was with, so that's why I think that's why. But I didn't know who went. But he's a great guy, Tom. Really. I like him.
He does more than me, and
his energy levels are astonishing.
Oh goodness, I know. But his collection, it's divided into sections. So he's got a ranty section and a memory section and a laugh section, and it's all in Tom. You can hear, that's what I love about the poets that I've chosen to work with. You can hear their voices through what they write. So when you read Tom's poetry, you can hear Tom talking, and when you read James's, you can hear them. Even if you've never met them before, you can hear their voice. It comes through their words.
Yeah. No.
And then we've got in April we've got Ellen Clayton, and she's a writer from Suffolk. So she's our only non-northern. She's like our guest southerner.
Oh, cool.
She's releasing a chapbook called Home Baked in April, which is all about relationships, family, nostalgia, and again, a really warm-hearted collection. And then the final announced writer of the moment is Emma Jane Barlow, and she's releasing a massive full collection called Sins and Sunflowers in May. And the rest of the writers have not officially been announced yet, so I'm gonna.
I know one of them.
Yeah.
He's not kept his mouth quiet to me on Facebook.
Oh no, he's absolutely welcome to share it. But we've been doing little teaser campaigns, and I don't want to steal their thunder.
No, we're not saying anything. I know who the gentleman is. That's the best way to put it to you. He's been going on about it all the time.
But what I can say, I am so ridiculously privileged to know all of these people, and every single person that I am working with through Benki, absolutely deserves to be published because they're brilliant. I constantly pinch myself going, why are they trusting me? But this is amazing. But all of their voices are so important, and we're doing some really special things to raise the voices of people who, for whatever reason, might be ostracized from traditional publishing, either because they can't afford to pay to play, or they want to present in a particular style that traditional publishing houses don't like, or I'm not running it like a traditional snotty publishing house where everything's got to be perfect if it's submitted. I'd rather work with my writers to make something really special together. So
yeah. No,
the person you're talking about, I badgered him for months and months and months, and he's like, oh, I don't know. And then actually when we sat down together and talked about it, we were like, we can make something amazing, and we're going to. It's going to be brilliant.
Yeah. A gentleman we can give hints about, and was, I don't know if you know this, Amanda used to run a magazine called Printed Word, she did. And we had him on the selection panel a couple of times. It was pre-lockdown anyway, and we had to persuade him. That's all I'm going to say, right? So.
Well, I mean, just some clues for the writers. We've got non-binary, blue hair, princess, emo supply teacher. There are your clues. So tattoos, blue hair, non-binary, piercings, emo supply teacher, and princess.
Plenty of that. Plenty. That's all we need to say there, definitely with that one. So, and obviously, as of recording, I'm on your website at the moment. I know it's still open, your submissions to the 28th of February. This podcast is going to be going live just before that. So obviously, like, if you hear it, then you're thinking, oh, get it in quick, okay? That's all I'm going to say there, right? So, and Rebecca doesn't know this, but I've actually recommended somebody to you already, to be honest. Yeah. So you might be hearing from a young lady that was so sweet to speak easy last week. So we'll comment on that. I'll tell you about that afterwards, right? So, but anyway, right. To conclude, Rebecca, obviously, I think we've covered everything now in a pretty roundabout way. Now, obviously, if people want to find out more about you, where do you recommend they go?
So I'm on Instagram at Rebecca Kenny Wright. I'm also on Twitter at rkenny_Wright. I'm more active on Instagram than I am on Twitter. Benki Publishing is benkeypublishing.co.uk, and we're on Instagram at Benki Publishing, and Facebook at Benki Publishing, and Twitter at Benki Publish. And we're active on all those platforms.
Sounds good to me. So, right, well, with that bit then, we'll wrap up the first half, Rebecca. I want to give you about as much time as we can to do a few poetries in the second half, because it's brilliant stuff. I'm looking forward to this. So, thank you again. We'll see you in a minute. Take care, guys.
Spoken, mate.
Hi, guys. Yes, it's my time for a break now. Rebecca's been pecking my head off for about 3 hours tonight, Shaz, so I can calm down now. No, seriously, Rebecca, over to you, my friend. Okay, I know you could do a couple of pieces for us.
Absolutely. So I'm going to read 3 pieces from my book, and then I'm going to, if we've got time, read another little piece that I've written to perform tomorrow night at Mouth, which is run by Lol Perkin. It's an amazing event, and I wrote that for Lol, so I'd like to share that one. So this first one is it's called String Theory, and it's from my collection. And one of the things that has weighed quite heavily on my mind since the crash is the nature of life and death. And I started reading about quantum immortality and the idea of different timelines and whether there are timelines in which I didn't survive the crash. And it led to this poem, which helped me to unpack a fair few things. So this is called String Theory. There is another universe in which I died, where the skid turned into a roll and my skull opened on dank tarmac, where one man lives with the feeling that even though this was not his fault, he is somehow responsible for the screeching blood marks on the lane. A world in which my phone smashed and nobody could call home to tell them I was gone. There is another string of existence in which I closed my eyes to brace, and that was the last thing I felt before I ceased to be a part of it. Sometimes I sit awake at 3 a.m. and think about this and what life without me would be like, whether I'd leave more of a stain on the world than the crimson imprints on the road, or if I'd be forgotten quickly, like a talent show runner-up or leftovers from a terrible dinner. But as the sun struggles to rise, because it is now November and the air is growing chilled, I also remember that I should not dwell on the physics of the universe, and that if I intend to, I must also realize that we are infinite. And for every universe in which I met a violent end that day, there are 20 in which I wake up. And that's
fantastic. Fantastic. Yeah, it does. It raises a good point, that really, like I said, because I'm always a firm believer in the sliding doors scenario. It's like I said, right, parking on, like we've both me and you had different sort of experiences that change your life, and I think it does cause that a moment of reflection. Definitely so.
Yeah.
Brilliant stuff. Okay.
Thank you.
Number 2.
So this one is this is a piece that I wrote after having a conversation with Anthony Schmirek, actually, who is an amazing poet and musical artist from Manchester. And when I was in the hospital, we had a conversation, and he said to me, "Oh, like your car is destroyed, but your body is still here. How cool is that?" And I was like, "That's amazing." Actually, thinking about it that way rather than sitting there and going, "God, why me?" And then it got me thinking about the way I've treated my body over the years, and how I've not always been very kind to it, and just appreciating it. So this one is called The Body I Used to Have. I remember the body I used to have before she was bent and broken. And oh, she was magnificent. So perhaps I should speak in present tense, because she is still here, holding me in a calm embrace, fending off the tornadoes inside my mind and issuing good grace to rested bones. She used to be fluid, gliding like iced water over rocks on mountainsides. We would hop from bar to bar on a cloud of intoxication, and we would drop to our knees on sticky dance floors to serenade the world. We climbed hills, mountains, saw the horizon from the perspective of God, and felt whole, because when we are with nature, we know what it is to be complete. Still, those days are now chalked up to experience, memories for a memoir that nobody wants to read, the very public diary of a 25-year-old tearaway. Social feeds don't lie. I was there, painted, pointless, in 8-megapixel glory. That was me then. I remember the body I used to have, the one that caged me, iron strong, and held my heart together. Life tried to slam a car into me, and my badass body told it to get fucked.
Oh, I wasn't expecting that ending then.
No.
Well,
I don't swear very often.
Oh, no. I always makes you smile when you do poetry night. You're gonna swear. Do it with effect. And you got me. And I wasn't expecting that. Then it's like, it's bizarre with me. It's like I never swear in poetry. Never ever swear. Then as soon as Amanda got me writing flash fiction like 2 years ago, the F-bombs just fly out
liberally. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot to be said for a well-timed swear word. I'm into it.
Yeah, she's got me. I'm gonna cut this bit in a minute anyway. But she got me to our book review podcast where she's been reading a book on pigeonholes, if you know what that is, that website. And it's a good website to read actually, because they give you previews of books, like a couple of chapters a day, and they spread it out over 10 days, so you can read it online that way. And there's one gone on there, setting the last woman nerve sort of thing. And she said to me the other day, reading the first part, it's come on Amazon for 99 pence. I think you might like this. And I opened it up, and the first page had 4 F-bombs on it. I thought
there's nothing wrong with swearing.
Exactly.
I did a whole unit at university on the history of swearing. I did my degree in linguistics. And I loved it. It was brilliant. I learned where they all come from.
Have you seen that Nicolas Cage program on Netflix about swearing?
No. Nicolas Cage and swearing. Yeah, oh my God.
That's actually treat them for you, okay? 6-part program with Nicolas Cage and the history of swearing.
Brilliant. I'm in.
Anyway, that's Amanda again. Right. Anyway, so I better get on to number 3. Okay. So let me just pause this for a second. I'll do a couple of seconds of silence and back to you. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. On to point number 3.
So this is the one that I read at Speakeasy, my first ever performance at Speakeasy. Definitely the first of many, I would hope. And this, I like to perform it because it's my empowerment poem, and it's towards the end of the collection, and it's all about kind of grabbing life by the nuts after nearly dying and wanting to feel everything and appreciating the good and the bad. So it's called Elephant Juice for no particular reason, except I didn't want to call it I Want to Feel Everything because it just seemed boring. And I know when I was a little girl, we used to mouth elephant juice at each other, which meant I love you. And it just seemed quite fitting. I don't, sometimes the titles invite themselves in. So this is Elephant Juice. I want to feel everything. Every single little moment, every fragment and shard of existence. I want my lungs to burn with the strain of containing all of this experience. Fill me with sorrow until I feel I am drowning. Wrench my heart from my chest with sharpened claws before replanting it with a softened palm. Pull me into pieces and then stitch me back together with threads of leather. I want to feel everything. Coat me in diamonds and put me on display, or tuck me inside a coat pocket and hide me away. Bring me dismay on a silver platter. Destroy all the confidence I have that I might matter. In fact, go one better. Try to deny me the fuel that I need, that I use, that inspires me, and watch how I burn anyway. Brighter than fireworks, because what's for me won't go by me, and sometimes life hurts, but I want to feel everything. I want to know the searing pain of loss and then feel it juxtaposed. I want to feel the joy of sunshine pressing on my back, the intense fear of leaving you or losing you, the crack of bones, the smash of glass, the taste of wine, the smell of grass. I want to feel I had a chance and did it all, both clean and crass. I want to feel everything. So give me everything you've got. Send me life's gut punches, serve me tea scalding hot. Don't tell me to stop or try to tell me to stop. Let me feel the pain of losing and the thrill of being top and the thrill of being topped as well, I suppose. Take me to dinner and treat me to roses, pose with me in toilet mirrors and reject my proposals, be at my beck and call and have me there at your disposal. I want to feel everything. I want to drink that coffee that's been shit out by weasels, smoke joints in bars in Bali and face my inner evil on a warm September night. I want to go medieval in the bedroom and then go to a reenactment and drink mead beneath the blood moon. I want to drink you in. I want to taste your sweat. I want to feel the type of feelings I'll never forget. Duet with me on drunken nights and kiss me on the neck. I want to feel everything. I want to breathe the whole world in. I want to fly. I want to fall. I want to douse myself in sin. I want to pull you into me until we melt together in the most delicious fuck up that the world could ever revel in. I want to hurt. I want to laugh. I want to let both God and the devil in. I want to cry myself to sleep and feel the earth's benevolence. I want to feel everything, just that and nothing more. I want a wild buffet of feelings parked outside my brain's back door. I want to sample every colour that the rainbow has to offer. I want to feel my aura change. I want to know I made a dent in this timeline's page. I want to feel everything, so please, take my soul. I trust you to destroy it and to then replace it whole. Break me down to atoms and then turn me into coal. Take me from my prime and rip me a new arsehole and then crush me until I become diamond. Take me down to hell and back because I know I'll always find me. And at the end of all of this, there is just one thing to say, a pronouncement, an announcement, as I declare today, I want to feel everything, absolutely everything. I want to feel it all. Thank you.
Really relatable, like Rebecca. Fantastic stuff.
Thank you.
Right, okay, we've got time, am I reckoning, to go for the fourth piece.
Amazing. So this is one that was inspired by a little conversation that I had with Lol the other day. And it's all about the way that women are presented in art and how frustrating it can be as a woman sometimes to be treated a particular way just because of your gender. So it's called Lads. It's a bit ranty, but I think you'll enjoy it. So this is for Lol. Lads, it's really quite simple to grasp. If a woman is nervous at your focus on her arse or her tits or her face or her hands or her hair, it isn't your job to tell her that the threat isn't there. Lads, it's easy. Listen, your mission is to stop making women feel they deserve your permission before they speak up about feeling that ignition of anger when cameras focus on their body and not their talent. When comments pass to shitty, we don't need you to be gallant, we just need you to listen. Acknowledge that it's wrong. Hear us when we tell you that we feel we don't belong, when your focus isn't on our words but on stringing us along. If we tell you that you make us feel like meat in a butcher's window, this isn't brand new lingo, just stop. It's not your job to shout misogyny is gone. Stay in your own lane, feel your own pain. We will be there to catch you when you're listened to again like you always are. We know it's not all men, but it's enough to make us need to say this time and time again. My chest isn't capital, nor my body a commodity. My lips and tongue make magic of the linguistic sense, and I do this for free. No charge to experience the talent that's inside of me, yet you choose to focus on the superficial bits outside of me and tell me to leave it, to stop calling you out. Tell me it's not necessary to damage someone's clout by telling others that my tits meant more than the stories in my head, or that the way they looked somewhere else but my eyes made me feel that insidious dread of the kind that's instilled in women everywhere, the fear that continues to spread. Stop telling me to pipe down. Stop telling me what you said. I heard it. I did not deserve it. And what's worse is that your mates don't get it just because they're men. And 9 times out of 10, she's better than them. But it's me who is shut up, me who is gagged. And when I push it, you go for my looks or the way that my tits have begun to sag, because it's easy to attack me for the body that I have when what you actually need to do is reflect. Inspect the language you use and hear us when we tell you that it makes us feel used. We aren't being obtuse. It's that it's profuse. We are reduced to a dress and a nice pair of shoes. And if we dare to speak up, we are told to pack it in. Women are there to be looked at, not listened to, so jack it in. And this from men who claim to be the face of masculinity, till proffering and profiteering from toxic anti-femininity. Yes, my tits are art, but they're not yours to enjoy. So go back to your bedroom like a teenage boy and think about imagined perfection. Then stare at your reflection and reflect on the fact that it's pure imagination to think any strong woman gives a shit about your opinion. Pack it in, lads. We've all had enough. If you don't want to listen, then seriously, just fuck off. There's more swearing in that than I thought there was.
I'm starting to get worried about you, Rebecca, to conclude with that.
I was a bit angry when I wrote it.
No, you think Because when I first met you, people are wondering before we wrap up today over it. Like, I thought you and I quite a serious. I didn't expect to get 2 poems in the session tonight where they both finished with the F word dropping out.
It's because I had a conversation. God, I had to block someone off Instagram the other day because I had a conversation where I was genuinely just being a kind person and reaching out to somebody that I thought needed a friend. And the immediate assumption was that I wanted to sleep with them. And it's exhausting. And I'm like, no, I'm just being nice. I'm being kind. I don't want to sleep. And that's what Lol and I were talking about a bit as well. Like the idea.
I can see Lol's influence in that piece. Hi, Lol. That's all I'm going to say there.
Oh, Lol's brilliant, and I'm inspired to be like Lol.
We love Lol at Spoken Label, definitely so. Right, anyway, Rebecca, I need to chat you off mic, so we'll wrap up now. So it's been a fantastic pleasure today. You give me a good laugh today, and you surprised me in about 4 different ways today, and that's always a good sign in the session. Yeah. So it's been tremendous. You're always welcome, and again, whenever you're ready in the future, definitely so. And we'll look forward to getting some of your writers on in the future, definitely.
Thank you very much.
Right, well, to conclude with, guys and girls, as Don Callis at Impact Wrestling always says, I don't think he's there anymore now. So anyway, I still like his name. Stay safe and stay over, and we'll see you all next time. Take care, guys and girls.
Spoken Label.